Retiring from the NBA after 12 seasons with the Phoenix Suns, Kevin Johnson returned home to Sacramento to serve as CEO of St. Hope, a nonprofit community development corporation he founded in 1989 that was designed to revitalize inner-city communities through public education, economic development, civic leadership, and arts enrichment. Since his election, Mayor Johnson has been forefront on issues affecting downtown, including homeless outreach through the Sacramento Steps Forward Task Force, championing the downtown retail recruitment plan, encouraging additional investment in Westfield Plaza, advocating for a downtown sports and entertainment complex, and launching several initiatives to increase volunteerism, promote the arts, and make Sacramento the greenest region in the country. Kevin, we look forward to continuing our partnership and working closely with your staff and your administration to revitalize downtown. At 5'7" tall, that's me, not him, and with no discernible talent on the basketball court, again, that's me and not him, this is as close to NBA greatness as I will ever get. So please help me bring him to the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, Mayor Kevin Johnson.
Thanks, Roger. Good morning to everyone. We are extremely excited to be here today, and I want to thank all you folks for coming out this morning. Let me first start by just thanking all the electeds that are here today, certainly city staff and John Shirey and his team that have done great work. And then Michael Alt, just your team, the Downtown Partnership. You know, you day in and day out do a great job of just promoting our community. You know, you think about the little things that you do, the clean and safe efforts, getting rid of litter and graffiti downtown. Those are important things. Secondly, when you think about us trying to create an environment where we're attracting businesses and we're recruiting and trying to retain them downtown, they do that day in and day out, which is important. Advocating smart policies, you know, for growth and making sure the downtown urban core is front and center. And then your folks who work in the park on a regular basis telling stories to all the visitors that come our way. Can we get one more round of applause for just the role the Downtown Partnership does? You guys also did a good job with Occupy Sacramento, so thank you for that too. Was that part of your marketing strategy? We have a really cool speaker today, and I'm going to make my remarks relatively short because I think we all want to hear what he has to say. Let me say this first, that, you know, Darrell Steinberg, who you know, is a champion in our community, he and I go way back. I have a bone to pick with him on redevelopment, which I'm going to do right now. But I want to first tell the story. Darrell and I went to breakfast about 2 years ago, and we sat down at Fox and Goose, and halfway into the breakfast, after we ordered, like we all ordered double portions, he said he forgot his wallet. I said, how convenient. So needless to say, I pick up the tab. We had breakfast recently, and I emailed him and asked him and reminded him to bring his wallet. He said, absolutely. What he did this time, which was kind of interesting, we meet at a certain time. He had already had his breakfast, and he paid for his. That leads me to redevelopment. You know, in all seriousness, in terms of redevelopment, I think we were dealt two major blows as it relates to redevelopment this last year. The first, the governor approved legislation, you know, essentially to raid the redevelopment coffers to balance the state budget. And I've shared this with the governor, and I think it was very difficult for us as communities, as cities in particular up and down the state, to be successful without redevelopment. And the second major blow was the Supreme Court recently ruled that redevelopment agencies must cease their operations in February. Those were blows for our community. But what I want to say to you, and I want to say this to Darrell, who he and I spent a lot of time in the last couple of weeks talking about this, we're going to find a way to go forward. It may not be redevelopment as we know it today, and we may not call it redevelopment 2.0, but we've got to make sure that we as cities have the tools to make sure economic development and affordable housing and job creation, all those things have to continue forward. And the President Pro Tem is bringing forward ideas that relate to appropriations, legislation that we think collectively will, in the long run, really be good. So I'm trusting you on this. So I'm with you, and if not, we're all going to bring you back here and kind of roast you next year at this time. We got your word? All right, let's give Darryl a round of applause, too. So in my estimation, the three biggest issues facing downtown, one is redevelopment, which I just shared a little bit with. And if you think about the Berry Hotel and K Street venues and Maidstone and Mercy Housing, there's been a lot of projects that have been successful because of redevelopment. We're going to continue that forward. The second issue that's important for downtown is the downtown plaza. And I'm not going to talk a lot about that today because I think most of you know that we've got to strike this balance of making sure that the businesses are there that do well and we lend their support, and there are opportunities for us to look at maybe the Westfield changing hands. And I don't want to say anything other than our commitment, all of us from the city, is to make sure that downtown plaza is something that we can be very, very proud of, and we have a long ways to go. In my recent conversation with the governor the other day, he was talking about what an eyesore he felt that K Street and downtown was. I'm like, well, why'd you end redevelopment? The irony of all this. And he came up with some ideas, and he promised also to make a commitment that we have a chance to really showcase the downtown area. Now, I don't know what those ideas are yet, but we talked about getting together again, and that's kind of all of our commitment. We've got to have a very strong downtown core. The third thing I want to talk about really quickly is just the entertainment and sports complex, and Larry's going to talk a little bit about that as well. Let me just tell you that when I think about an entertainment and sports complex, it's a game changer. And there's not too many opportunities that you get to have a game changer of this magnitude that really transforms your community. And that's what's before us. You're talking about over 3 million visitors on a regular basis that will come downtown. This project will be catalytic in terms of economic development. We've talked about jobs. We're talking about 4,000 jobs, 3,700 of them are construction jobs. The economic impact over the life of the project in terms of the rail yard, you're talking $7 billion of economic impact. This is real. This is transformative. It's a game changer. We have a chance to make our downtown a destination for the entire region. And with that, we need all the civic amenities that go with that. This is part of the vision that many of you have held for many years. It's just our turn and our time to really make these a reality. We've proven time and time again that we can get things done. And when you think about this entertainment and sports complex, you've heard us often say it's bigger than basketball. If you want to have a vibrant downtown, you need arts, you need culture, you need all those civic amenities. And we're going to figure out a way to pull it off. And here's where we are today. One, I think we're closer than we've ever been for a lot of reasons. And two, we're working on a financing plan that, number one, protects the taxpayers, number two, will protect our general fund, and number three, will protect jobs. And that's really important for us to do. I just got off the phone with folks that are all working on the entertainment and sports complex, the NBA, AEG, and they're just as committed today as they were in the beginning. And they see Sacramento as a downtown that's about to grow up and embrace its true identity. It's our opportunity to experience what an emergent city looks like, and that's what we're on the brink of. We really are on the brink of doing significant things as it relates to the entertainment and sports complex. We have this deadline coming up in March. We're going to do our best to do two really important things. One is we think that there's incredible interest for our parking. We want to move forward with the RFQ and RFP process. And then secondly, we want to get a term sheet where all parties involved are agreeing on what this financing plan will look like. That's us as a city and county and all of the jurisdictions that are participating from a public standpoint. You guys know this, as you invest publicly, private investment follows, so we want to be smart in our public-private partnerships. Secondly, we want to make sure that whatever we're doing with the NBA and the Maloofs, that they're paying their fair share. we are not going to give something away. And that's all of our commitment, is that we got to protect our community. Thirdly, AEG has agreed to be operator, and they're looking at being equity investors. We know that David Taylor and his team, the Icon Taylor, has done a great job of building downtown. Is David Taylor in here today? Let's give David Taylor, he's built half of downtown. Let's give David Taylor a round of applause. So we believe we have the right team in place, and there's a political will and there's a will from the public to get this done. So I just wanted to update you on that. The next few weeks is going to be very, very important, but we've got to send a very strong message to the NBA in that March deadline that we've done our part to push this ball forward. And if we do that, then it's really going to be up to them to do their part. And I think this community will find a way to make something big happen. So thank all of you for being a part of that. Let me close out with this. The message I want to give really simple to the business community is, one, we need you as the business community downtown. Keep fighting. Don't give up. We'll get over this hump. Number two is at City Hall, we were making a commitment at City Hall to be even a better partner. We've made a lot of progress, but we want to be even a better partner going forward. And then lastly, we've got to embrace the future of downtown. If we want to accept and live up to the identity of Sacramento, we've got to have a strong downtown core. And there's many stories that you guys have been a part of. You've been here in the 70s and 80s, and we've been trying for an awful long time. But there's a lot of momentum downtown for the first time. And even before I got elected, there was a lot of things put in place that people have done, my predecessors, and I get the opportunity to build on that. But our job is not done, but we're going to get there. So I want to thank you all for your commitment, and again, the Downtown Partnership, for the role you play in our community. So now I get a chance to introduce a friend, Larry Bear. This gentleman is a fourth generation San Franciscan. His father actually grew up in Sacramento. Couldn't get into Sac High, so he went to McClatchy. Larry, on the other hand, went to Lowell High School, which is the oldest high school west of the Mississippi. So he has a strong tradition as it relates to San Francisco. He went on to go to college and graduate Phi Beta Kappa at UC Berkeley, my alma mater, so smart, needless to say. Went to Harvard and got his MBA at Harvard. In 1992, he was a part of a group that negotiated a new ownership group in 1992 to buy the Giants. Fast forward to 2000, he was the person, the architect, and the person who made the new Pac-Bell Park Stadium a reality in San Francisco. And I think most of you know the rave reviews. It gets known as the best ballpark in any of the major league cities. And Larry oversaw that. And I think when Mike was looking at different speakers, we thought, how could we bring somebody in who could talk about the impact and the advantages of a downtown facility and what it has done for a respective city. And we just looked down the road, 75 minutes away to San Francisco. We had one of the premier people in our own backyard. I want you to know, San Francisco, we're very proud of our partnership with San Francisco. We call you the Sacramento suburb. So we want to welcome you to the main city today.